Hello everyone, welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zeng. You might have heard the news that former CCP leader Hu Jintao, who was removed from the CCP's 20th National Congress, made his first public appearance at the farewell ceremony of Jiang Zemin yesterday. Today, I will talk about some subtle moments during that ceremony and what those moments tell us about the CCP's deadly internal power struggle. Then I will discuss whether the nationwide protests in China have died down, and if not, how they will evolve in the future. Before we move on, please take a minute to subscribe to my channel if you haven't, or give me a like, leave us a comment to boost my channel a little. Yesterday, someone told me he had been unsubscribed 3 times from my channel already, so please do check from time to time if you are still subscribed. Now, let's move to our first topic today. On December 1st, the CCP's former head Jiang Zemin's funeral committee published an announcement saying that Jiang's grand memorial ceremony would be held on December 6th, that is today, but there wouldn't be a farewell ceremony. However, 4 days later, on December 5th, that is yesterday, a farewell ceremony was not only held in Beijing, but was also attended by Xi Jinping and all the current members of the CCP's Politburo Standing Committee. And to many people's dismay, Hu Jintao, the CCP's head between Jiang Zemin and Xi Jinping, who was forcibly removed from the CCP's 20th National Congress, also made his first public appearance. What is very obvious is there is a security guard behind Hu Jintao, said the young man in the red circle behind Hu. It is not clear whether this security guard is the same one who removed Hu Jintao from the CCP's 20th National Congress. Anyway, he was with Hu during the entire process, and Hu Jintao was the only one who was escorted by somebody. All other CCP leaders, including 88-year-old Li Ruihuan, former chairman of the CCP's Political Consultative Conference, didn't have anyone escorting him. Say the man in the red circle behind Xi Jinping, he is 88-year-old Li Ruihuan. Why was only Hu Jintao escorted all the time during the ceremony? Let's watch several interesting moments from Jiang Zemin's farewell ceremony.
Xi Jinping的向江泽民同志的遗体3句共语，表达对江泽民同志的崇高敬意和深切缅怀。
Well, from this, you can see that when Hu Jintao bowed to Jiang's body with others, he moved with ease and didn't show any sign that he needed somebody to support him. Let's watch another moment. Okay. From this, you can see that Hu Jintao was accompanied by the security guard, but he walked with ease and didn't have any problem at all. Now, another moment that is very subtle and very interesting.
Zeng 向江泽民同志的夫人王也平和亲属表示深切慰问。
Okay, you can see Xi Jinping didn't shake hands with Jiang Zemin's wife Wang Yeping, but Hu Jintao did. And when Hu Jintao lowered his body to shake Wang Yeping's hand, he didn't show any problem moving around at all. Another interesting detail is that when Xi Jinping hugged Jiang Zemin's eldest son Jiang Mianheng, the latter's body language shows that he didn't want to be hugged by Xi. His body became very stiff and he was resisting the hug. But when Hu Jintao shook his hand, he leaned forward and welcomed Hu Jintao. That's totally different body language. Let's watch that moment one more time.
习近平等向江泽民同志的夫人王也平和亲属表示深切慰问。
Well, I spent this much time showing you the video report of Jiang Zemin's farewell ceremony as it clearly tells us the following facts. 1. Hu Jintao still doesn't have freedom. The reason why he needed to show up at the ceremony is that Xi Jinping needed him to show up to tell the world that Hu Jintao and his family aren't under house arrest, as some rumors said. Everything is fine within the CCP. There's no power struggle, etc. On the other hand, Hu Jintao might want to appear as well to show his supporters that he's still alive and okay. Also, because both Xi Jinping and Hu Jintao are CCP leaders, they both want to present a false image that the CCP is still united when it comes to important issues such as Jiang's farewell ceremony. Fact 2. Hu Jintao is the only retired CCP officials whose name was mentioned in the CCP's official report. No other retired officials were mentioned, although they were there. So it is very obvious that the CCP wants to tell the world that Hu Jintao is okay. But as a Chinese idiom, 欲盖弥彰 goes, the attempt to cover up the truth only makes the truth more apparent. While the security guard beside Hu, we all know that he has no more freedom now than the time when he was removed from the CCP's 20th National Congress more than a month ago. Fact 3. The fact that the CCP first announced that there would be no farewell ceremony and then things changed only 4 days later shows that there must be a fierce internal power struggle with the CCP surrounding how to deal with Jiang Zemin's funeral-related matters. We talked about the death on demand of Jiang Zemin last time. This news was further confirmed by Professor Yuan Hongbin in his recent show. He said, according to sources within the CCP, before Jiang Zemin died, Xi Jinping had actually prepared to purge Jiang, his family, and his faction. Xi had already connected a name list with over 15,000 CCP officials on it, plus over 3,000 private entrepreneurs who are also regarded as Jiang's supporters or followers. Xi Jinping planned to blame Jiang for destroying the party with corruption, and by purging all those officials and entrepreneurs, Xi Jinping can confiscate trillions of dollars. According to Yuan Hongbin, Xi Jinping's plan especially gained the support of He Weidong, who gained an exceptional promotion and became the vice chairman of the CCP's Central Military Commission at the CCP's recent 20th National Congress. It was commonly believed that the reason why He was promoted so quickly is because he had been the commander of the Eastern Theater Command between 2019 to January this year, and Eastern Theater is the main offensive force against Taiwan. So his exceptional promotion was regarded by some people as a sign that Xi Jinping intended to invade Taiwan soon. Anyway, according to Yuan Hongbin, He Weidong supported Xi's plan to purge Jiang's faction and confiscate all their assets so that the trillions of dollars can be invested into preparation for war against Taiwan. The plan was made long before Jiang's death. Only Xi Jinping was waiting for a proper time to carry it out. Yuan Hongbin also said that Jiang Zemin did die on November 13th, not November 30th. And after Jiang died, Jiang's wife and eldest son sent to the CCP Central Committee a eulogy for Jiang Zemin, which was written by Jiang's buddy Zeng Qinghong's people. This eulogy gave Jiang Zemin very high regard, praising him as the core of the party and as great as Deng Xiaoping. But this contradicted Xi Jinping's report at the CCP's 20th National Congress, as Xi praised himself for saving the party when the party was in danger. If Jiang was that great, why did the party need Xi to save it? So, of course, she wasn't happy about this eulogy and didn't agree to use this version. That was one of the reasons why Jiang Zemin's death couldn't be announced yet, as they were still arguing about these issues. Then, the A4 protests suddenly broke out throughout China, and this movement directly targeted Xi Jinping and demanded Xi to step down. This put Xi in a very awkward and difficult situation. In order to avoid Jiang Zemin's remnants from taking advantage of the opportunity to cause a subversive political crisis for Xi Jinping, Xi had to swallow his anger and agreed to the request of Jiang's wife and son. He even promised a state funeral with the highest honors for Jiang Zemin. So, these were the stories behind Jiang Zemin's death on demand. So, for the time being, Jiang Zemin's family and his followers have avoided the fate of being purged and having all their assets confiscated. But who can guarantee that she will not carry out his plan later after he has passed the current political crisis caused by the A4 revolution? Next, I'd like to talk about the latest COVID situation in China, whether the A4 revolution has already ended, and if not, how it will evolve in the future. You may have read in the news that China's COVID control is being relaxed. Some cities no longer require a COVID test report for people to get on public transportation. Some cities are dismantling the COVID test sites. However, there are still some cities that are taking people to COVID quarantine camps. Some cities are still building more and large-scale quarantine camps. Some public places, such as supermarkets, office buildings, and even residential areas, still need people to show their COVID test report to get in. And there are no more free tests, and the test sites are much fewer. In some places, people have to look for test sites all over the city and do the tests with their own money. So the overall situation is quite a mess right now. But overall, the control is being loosened, that's for sure. One important sign is that the CCP's media have started to say that COVID is not that terrible after all. The easing up of control is no doubt a direct result of the A4 revolution. I think it caught the CCP off guard and shocked them very much. Another reason is the CCP, especially many local governments, have run out of money. They no longer have money to pay for the forced mass COVID tests. Also, before the A4 revolution broke out, the CCP had already arranged secret experiments in some high schools or colleges to see how quickly herd immunity can be reached. When the entire world has reopened, especially when tens of thousands are watching the World Cup mask-free, how can the CCP explain to Chinese people that only in China everyone still needs to be locked up? Also, if the CCP still wants to maintain normal business and communications with the world, it can't be too special. Otherwise, it's hard to keep up with the world. Of course, the most pressing reason is still the A4 revolution or black paper revolution. The CCP has felt people's anger at the combined power of so many discontent citizens. As I said many times before, China today is like a high-pressure pot, and the CCP is like sitting on a volcano. When it feels the pressure is too much, it wants to release some pressure from the pot so that it won't explode. So, will the people feel satisfied now since the control has eased up a little bit? Some of them may, but some others won't. On the contrary, after people have tasted the sweetness of freedom and rebellion, they want to ask for more. The most important thing is, after this round of protests, they saw the power of the people, they have overcome their fear, and when people are no longer fearful, that's the time when the dictator starts to fear. Of course, the CCP still has the most powerful army and police force in its hand, and it won't surrender its power without exhausting all its means. While freedom is not free, the battle for winning freedom cannot be done in one go as well. The good news is smaller scale protests are still going on in different cities, and people are becoming less fearful and ever smarter when they fight for their rights against the CCP. They are gaining experiences and they are sharing these experiences, so the fight has not died down. On the contrary, when the land of China is full of dry firewood, a small spark can cause another fire, and eventually one of the fires will ultimately end the life of the CCP. And that day could be much sooner than we expected. Well, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new here, please subscribe to my channel. If you're already subscribed, please like and share my content and check if you are still subscribed. Also, if you could, please go to my website at jenniferzengblog.com, jenniferzengblog.com, to sign up for membership or make a donation to support my truth-telling efforts. Thank you very much. See you next time.